Alright. Been talking a lot about Boomka recently, starting to turn people off. Gotta reinvigorate the channel, gotta think of something better. Let's talk about a blaster people wanted to see for a long time, like the Jolt! No, that's stupid. Nobody wants to see the Jolt. Or, how about that crazy angle finder vintage blaster? That's pretty cool. Nobody wants to see that thing either. Let's talk. I know! If you hadn't already known, a large majority of my Nerf collection came from thrift stores. I used to go to thrift stores about twice a week, and I would find a large assortment of blasters, some of which that I would even take pictures of and send them to Bobo, and he'd have no idea what I got. And that's one of the reasons I created Tag Back, the show where every week we take a look at another blaster for the past to see what it could offer us today in the present, because as I show these blasters in front of you, not only can I demonstrate what they're capable of stock, I can tell you what they could be modded for, and of course, now more people are going to look out for them. Today's blaster does not need that, but a lot of people want to hear me talk about it, so we're finally going to talk about the good old Nerf N-Strike Longshot CS-6. Now, what's so special about the Longshot CS-6? Well, there's a couple of things, but we'll start off with that it was the first blaster to use the N-Strike clip system. So it was the first one that had the kind of detachable magazines that were supposed to be universal from then on out, and of course we are still using them today. And the old magazines, well, you can still use them in these, and the newer ones will still work in these as well. So a really, really important system that kind of put Nerf on the map for a lot of people. They really, really like their tactical, quick reloading, external magazines. While those obviously have a point, I'm not a huge fan of them myself. But the Longshot CS-6 has a lot going for it, because not only does it look absolutely rad, but it is such an amazing platform for a lot of people. When it comes out of the box, it's nothing really special. It's pretty terrible, honestly. And a lot of people found that out when they went out and bought the Zombie Strike version, because a lot of modders were saying how great they were, and people were picking up the long shots, and well, they were pretty horrible. And then of course there was the N-Strike Elite paint job version, although it was still the same blaster through and through. And then of course you have the original blue and yellow N-Strike variant. So there's a couple of these out, and if you're looking for them, Toys R Us or Target still might have them, but make no mistake, this is still the same blaster from 2006. So let's go over some of the external features of this blaster, starting with the stock. Well, there's a little switch right here, flick that forward, and it will move in and out. And then of course you can put it in place to lock it, and of course extend it all the way out. And it is very, very comfortable. Not the most comfortable thing in the world, but it is very comfortable. Now, even with this thing fully locked in place, it's not exactly that solid, so a very common mod to do these is called a stock block, which is a piece of PVC in there to stop it from collapsing forward. And when it's collapsed, it's not really all that comfortable. Another feature is that you can obviously stuff a magazine in here. There we go. It doesn't go in very far, holds it in pretty decently, but yeah, you can hold an extra magazine in there, which makes it exceedingly useful, although it kind of ruins the aesthetics in my opinion. You may only want to hold like a 6-rounder or a 12-rounder in there. These 18s are a bit long for my taste. On top of that, you've got, well, a bolt-action prime with a very, very cool, kind of hard to see right there, jam-clear door. You also notice that on the back of the blaster, kind of right near here, you'll see a, it's going to be impossible to show on camera, but you will see a red dot that shows up when you prime the blaster, and then when you fire it, it goes back to black. Red, black. So it's a priming indicator. It's pretty cool. I legitimately did not know about that until I just picked this thing up. Kind of funny because I've had Longshots for a while now. On this carry handle right here, which is very, very comfortable and very cool looking, you've got your N-Strike tactical rail. Very important for the variety of scopes you're probably going to want to shove on the top of this thing. Did I mention this thing looks awesome? It looks awesome. And then you've got the front right here, which is very rifle-like, very cool. And on the Zombie Strike version, it has this kind of weird thing right here. What is that for? Well, it looks cool. I guess that's a point for it, right? Wrong. On the other versions of this blaster, you've got, well, the bipod. A folding bipod that you can put that's built into the blaster, and it's kind of cool. I mean, it works, steadies your shots. Not that the stock long shot needs that, but hey, It is pretty nifty. Unfortunately, most people just remove it anyway, because if you want to do something like a pump action grip, well, removing that is the best way to get that done. So it's kind of pointless, but I'm guessing that's one of the reasons why the Zombie Strike line came with the bipod already removed. Pretty nifty blaster, and of course many versions of this also came with the Longshot front gun, but I've already done a video on that and it's terrible, so who cares. And the eagle eye among you would have noticed that this is not the original Longshot scope. I don't quite have that version. This is actually one of the ones that came with the mission kit, which looks infinitely cooler in my opinion. Just a piece of plastic, it doesn't actually magnify anything, it is completely pointless, but cool. So that's a lot about the externals of the blaster. What are the internals like though? Well, you'll be happy to know that this thing is a monster. It's got a gigantic plunger tube in it, and on top of all that, it is direct plungered. Kind of weird how not many blasters in the N-Strike line were direct plungered, and yet this one is not only direct plungered, it is massive. So what does this huge plunger tube mean for you? Well, that means that this thing can hit harder than pretty much any other N-Strike blaster, or pretty much any Nerf blaster there is that isn't air-powered, without putting in some crazy custom internals. Which is awesome! Now, it does require a bit of work because there's a lot of things you have to kind of reinforce and work with in order to make the thing not poop itself if you put your 14-kilogram spring and whatnot in it, but it can be done. The plunger tube is massive, the plunger draw is reasonable, and then of course, yeah, it can handle a lot of punishment. One of the problems I found when you modify these things is I have modified one in the past, or at least my roommate had. If you take out the air restrictor, a pretty common mod with something like this, don't do it in the blue versions because then you vacuum load every single elite dart you try to put through it. Or if you're gonna do that, you need to put some kind of wire or stopper in the back of the bolts. I don't think that's a problem with the purple or the blue color, blue, greenish, cyan, teal, whatever you want to call it. Teal, definitely teal. Or the yellow kind, or even the new N-Strike Elite color scheme kind, but keep in mind, all of those are the same blasters, they just have different, you know, external paint jobs. Another problem we found out is that with that crazy spring in there, it's almost impossible to prime it one-handed. I don't know what that has to do with a whole lot, but unfortunately it's the truth. Now, if you are gonna buy something like this, you need to reinforce your bolt sled, you need to pad your plungers, and just putting a crazy powerful spring, yeah, that will get you the distance, trust me. But you're really gonna wanna work on something like an angel breach for it, or if you're too lazy, there's a variety of drop-in kit breaches that Psych has reviewed, and the only one I've ever been able to get my hands on was, of course, the artifact breach, which they do make for the Longshot. So there are a lot of options out there. Oh, and pump action, which makes this thing an absolute killer. I'm not kidding when these things could hit up to frickin' 200 FPS with the right stuff and Steffens, and they're absolute monsters. These can hit some pretty crazy NIC levels of combat if you so choose. I also forgot that they made the red version. Oh yeah, let's talk about the most expensive blaster you could probably find stock next to the whiteout long strike. Yeah, the red strike Longshot. I don't have one, I might never have one. They are highly desirable and worth a lot of money, especially if you can find them complete. The Red Strike line included a Vulcan, a Retaliator, and then of course the Longshot. I don't think there's anything else in that line, but whatever. And yeah, they're worth a pretty penny. Why? Because they're rare. They were only supposed to be sold at Walmart for one day, which was Black Friday years ago. So yeah, crazy. The Red Strike, and it looks cool. It's kind of like a blood red that Nerf really hasn't ever used since then. And it's a shame because these things sell for like $300 out of box complete on eBay. I mean, they're pretty freaking expensive. You're talking more than crossbow and stuff like that. You really, at that point, the only thing more expensive are complete in-box ones that have never been opened. Kind of hard to forget about something like that. But yeah, the Red Strike Longshot, it's a thing, and it's a thing people really, really want, and sometimes you can find them. People have found them at thrift stores and stuff like that. They were sold at Black Friday, so you know, there are a couple, but if you do find one, yeah, unless you're really, really good at modding, and even if you were really good at modding, just sell it. Just frickin' sell it. There's no reason to have that kind of power. seriously, you get the same performance out of one of these, and if you really want one, you can just paint a Longshot red, so who cares? And then, of course, if you're really bored with them, if you want to do some other modifications, shove a Titan tank in it. Why not? Make a Titan rifle. You can. It will fit right in here, and you can put a pump and everything. It's crazy. Yeah, you can do that if you want to, and that makes the Longshot is a very, very versatile platform. In fact, you've probably seen this in movies and TV shows all over the place, painted with little bits and bobs added to them and lasers and stuff like that. People have done a lot of crazy stuff with the Longshot over the years, and it's just in a super attractive looking blaster. I can't fault it for that. I mean, the one John made is better, don't get me wrong, but it's still really cool looking. Makes it really hard to hate this thing. It can hit insane ranges, and oh man, insane ranges, looks great, and are reasonably obtainable. I mean, they made a lot of them. You can still buy them in stores if you want. I found this at a Goodwill. This is one of the new ones. In fact, all of my Longshots I found at Goodwill, and I've never paid more than $3 for one. And virtually every single time you find one at a Goodwill, it's going to have some dart shoved stuck down inside of it, so be prepared to fix it. Not that you'd want to use a stock Longshot anyway, because like I said, they're terrible, but the Longshot is pretty darn cool, and it's something that maybe the most casual among you wouldn't get, but those of you who are really into Nerf, you've seen a wide variety of Longshot mods, and of course, it's a very, very, very good blaster, and I can highly recommend it if you want to put the time and effort into it. Heck, you can just buy $150 worth of aftermarket parts, drop them in here, and make a crazy 200 FPS absolute destroyer of worlds. Not too much else to say about the good old Longshot here, but if you want to see some more stuff on it, I have of course got this video right here which covers John's Longshot. That is absolutely beautiful, and I can't foam at the mouth about it enough because I want to upgrade that thing and make it absolutely insane. And then, of course, if you want to see the little brother of the Longshot here, or slightly longer brother, just slightly, we've got the tag back on the Long Strike right here. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, the easiest way to keep track of them is to hit the subscribe button. Makes it easier for everyone, doesn't cost you any money or time whatsoever, you just click that button and you're done. You can do it while I'm talking, so what are you waiting for? This is one people have been waiting for some time, and I've never really modified one besides putting the super powerful orange Bodwork spring in one and having all sorts of issues and never having the patience to fix them. Yeah, you don't really want to put a spring like that in these things if you're looking to fire stock darts, but if you're looking for Steffens and whatnot, go for it. Awesome blasters, and the best part is that they look cool, so even if you want to put a strife in it, check out this video right here. Amazing, 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 amazing. I can't say that enough. That's a strife in a Longshot with a Firefly. And the best part, there's an under-barreled Busby Boss, the two-shot Mega Dart blaster. That's pump action, and to fire it, he uses a modified, I think, a Vigilon mag release switch on the side, so you just slide it down and see, that's the kind of modifications I need to show off and tag back, because that's the kind of stuff that's amazing. Blew my frickin' mind when I saw it. If he ever sells that thing, I know you're watching this, you better frickin' let me know. I'm Walcom S7, thank you very much for watching this video, and of course I hope to see you in an entirely different one.